We made this video
to educate current and future guardian ad litems
on the perspectives of
youth in the system and the
roles and responsibilities
of the guardian ad litems that represent them.
My name is Annie Von Gillard, and I'm a social worker at the Drake Legal Clinic. We represent youth as attorney and guardian ad litem in China cases. I'm not an attorney, I'm a social worker, but I get to work with student attorneys, and the best part of my job is getting to work with the youth that we represent. I love going on home visits. I love sitting down and explaining the process to them and helping them take real ownership in their case. This is the biggest deal in their life. Every day they think about, all day long, why am I not at home, and why is my family going through these experiences? And it's my job to help them understand it and to work through it and to feel empowered to be able to take part in their case.
So how do you feel about going to court next week?
I'm kind of nervous,
Did you talk to your GAL?
Not yet. She hasn't contacted me yet.
So how often do you talk to her?
Once every 6 months.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
My GAL comes to my school and talks to me about what's going to happen at court. And then they also talk to me the day of court to see if I want to change what I said from the last time.
Actually, mine doesn't, because the only time I talk to her is when I have court. So we only have like 10 to 15 minutes. We talk like outside of court before we go in the courtroom and talk about the situations.
How do you feel about her not coming to see as often as she should?
I feel bad, but I really would like for her to come more often.
Well, maybe when you go to court, you can let the judge know that you want your GAL to come and talk to you outside of court instead of 10 minutes before.
I'll try that.
I feel the guardian ad litem should ask the youth where they should visit before they come to the placement. Yeah, when they come to the placement.
Well, see, whenever I had somebody like a worker or GAL come in, they always ask me where I wanted to go. So we just go. They come into the house, we'd meet with my parents, and then they would end up taking me somewhere. I remember we went to parks, we went to Subway, Quiznos, all that stuff.
It's to be able to build that relationship with the youth. If you can ask the youth where you want to go, it kind of breaks all the stress and any kind of upset feelings. Just be able to ask the youth where they want to go is kind of important.
Okay, so it's important to be able to talk to your guardian ad litems about your sibling visits and your sibling contact, because as a youth with brothers and sisters, it's very difficult to suddenly be in a situation where the closest bond that you have is gone. I was once told that sibling relationships are the longest running relationships in your entire life. They span longer than your parents, your husband, your friends, your children. They are who you grow up with, who you grow old with. There's no replacing your siblings. And when you're taken from your family and then removed from your brothers and sisters, it's like a part of your soul is missing, a part of you is just gone. And as you get older, as an adult, you find yourself wondering every day what your brother's doing, what your sister's doing right now at that very moment, and there's no way for you to reach out, and you can't call them, and you can't talk to them, and you can't ask questions because you can't find them. So from the aspect of the youth, it's very difficult to run into a situation where there's no more contact. So I think that it's just important for our guardian ad litems to establish contact, or at least give us the option to establish contact with our brothers and sisters.
How long have you been in the system and haven't been going to court?
I've been in the system for 1 year and 9 months, almost 2 years now.
And you've only been going for 2 months? Mm-hmm. Have they ever asked you if you want to go?
The judge have asked me, but sometimes I'm like, no, because I was so scared that the courtroom was going to be the scariest place, because the television and stuff. So I've never went until a couple months ago.
I always went to my court dates. I think there was like my first few ones I didn't go to, but I always went to them and talked to my guardian ad litem and my judge, and they always tried to find the best thing for me. Was that the same for you?
Yeah.
It was everyone, you could say, as my experience of being in the system, a lot of my time as felt as a youth or false promises, guardian ad litem especially, because like we would talk about things, but then they never were mentioned in court, or like we would send emails back and forth, or he would come visit me, but then it was never there. He would say he would come to talk and explain to me about court, but it was never there. So it kept like he always made promises after promises, but then it never came out.
See, to me, I think that if you make a promise, you got to keep it, because if you break too many promises with one person, they're gonna end up saying, you know what, I don't care, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, like towards the beginning of my life, everything was like lies, like pretty much. I had never got anything, but when I went into the system, a lot of stuff changed, and I started getting stuff that people would promise, and it's really there's nothing like going through it so many times that it's just like custom, because I've been invited to games and stuff like that where they didn't show up. Like they said that we'll go to the game and then they change their mind, or we'll go to movies or something.
Get to know me so that you can go in and speak to the judge and other people in the court system that is in my best interest. You can't say, hey, you know, JC says that this is best for her, when I'm going, I don't even know what's going on right now. I have no idea who you are. You can't tell me what's best for me if you don't know me, and I can't tell you what's best for me if I don't know what's happening around me.
I think that it's important for the guardian ad litem to share reports from like therapy and why they went into the system, so they know why they went into the system and what's going on in like therapy and what's going on in court also if they're not attending court.
I've always gotten letters or papers from my therapist and my guardian ad litem, copies of what they have to say about me. So I haven't had a problem with that.
And the way that we have found in working with youth that is the most effective in helping advocate for them and helping them learn to advocate for themselves is to build a relationship with them and visit them often and have contact with them often. I would say on average we try and see all of our youth approximately once a month. If that means we just go and play a game of skip-bo at the treatment facility, that's what we do. Or sometimes we go and we just sit outside, play basketball. Sometimes it's just about spending time together and not necessarily talking about the case, but building a relationship. So when the really nasty stuff happens, you've got a relationship and you've got a strong foundation to be able to talk about the issues that have come up and the ways to address them and to help the youth move forward.
I was actually pretty lucky because when I was in the system, my guardian ad litem called me back or returned any contact that I needed from her fast. Within like 24 hours, I always had a response. And that's important because there were times that I was young, you know. I didn't know how to call somebody a bunch of times. I couldn't just get in my car and drive over there and get what I needed. I just needed to talk to somebody, or I had questions or concerns, or you know, I was scared about something, and I managed to build a relationship with my guardian ad litem that she would be there if I needed her.
Sometimes I feel like when I'm angry, sometimes I feel like they don't care, but sometimes when I'm like calm and they're like, okay, I understand what you're trying to say, And if they're what they promised me, if they fulfill their promise, I really think they really care sometimes. I think they're there for us, and they're there to do what we're telling them, what we think is right for us. And it's not for them, it's not like what we tell them to do. It's not like they have to do it, but they listen to what we gotta say, and then they put their own input in there, and they make their own decision of what they think is really right for us.
My guardian ad litem let me talk to the judge in private because I'm shy and I don't like to talk in front of people, and it makes me and probably other kids feel nervous to talk in front of a big group of people that you don't know.
I think that when kids are ready to go to court, they'll feel like it. So I don't think there should be a selected age. I think that there should be just like whenever they're ready. You know, I think like you should keep asking them until they are ready. Like some kids are ready. I was ready at 8. I've been through a lot of stuff already, and when I went into the system, I was already accustomed to going into a courtroom.
I knew for me, my guardian ad litem really asked for my opinion at the age of between 16 and 17. That was where you kind of really wanted to make a decision on your life. So it also depends on what's happening in your life. Are you suitable to stand in court or listen in court and to be able to understand what they're saying? And then also when asked questions, be able to give a clear understanding of what you want to do with your life. So for me, my guardian ad litem really pushed me that the 16, 17 years age where you have about a year or 2 years left to kind of really what you want to do with your life. So that from there was really a time where I really had to see what I want to do with myself from there.
An attorney should not ever take any role other than attorney in a case. So if the person that was appointed initially was attorney and guardian ad litem, they cannot stay on as the guardian ad litem if they've had any confidential communications with the client. And a lot of times youth don't understand what that means. We use terms like bifurcate, and youth don't know what that means. And so it's the attorney and the guardian ad litem's duty to explain to the youth what that means and how to go about having that bifurcation happen.
Give them different options. Like what she said, if they don't want to talk in a big group setting of group, they could talk to somebody in private, and they could just give them different options if they don't really want to speak up in front of the judge. If they're shy, let them talk to somebody aside, and warn them ahead of time what's really going on. Tell them what the real case is about, if it's about them or the mom, what's really going on between them and their mom, and just tell them what's really going on. No matter how old the kid is, you still have to tell them, because they're going to find out anyways.
The guardian ad litem, in my opinion, should give the youth options, choices, if they are wanting to have that sibling relationship or to have that relationship still with family, if that's possible, to knowing the placements around where they can. I know for my situation, my guardian ad litem didn't have that choice, so it was ever the best place to get me into a placement. So just being able to sit down and say, okay, here's the placements here that best fit your style or your case, and then going to those places, going and seeing those places, and then being able to say that in front of the judge, that hey, this is where I feel that I get best learn from those places, and also making your guardian ad litem stand beside you when you make those choices.
All judges and guardian ad litems should meet with their clients face to face and know them as individuals, as they're representing people and not case numbers.
With the youth of and with my own clients at the legal clinic here at Drake, I have learned the importance of building a relationship, and I really encourage all of the students that I work with, the law students, and with new attorneys that are coming out and representing youth as guardians ad litem, to work on building that relationship from the beginning and have a really solid foundation of a relationship with your client. This isn't like your typical case as an attorney. You can't rely on having a phone call with them. You have to be able to meet the client where they are. And if that means just going to their house and sitting down and sitting outside having a glass of lemonade and talking about what they did at school, that's what you need to do. I just really encourage all of the people that I work with that are new to this field, and even sometimes within our office, we need to be reminded that that's where it all starts, is to have that basic relationship with the client and to really build from that.
I'm Antonia Pippins, and I approve this message.